Wardlaw Maddin. So nobody knows her? All right. She's a musician, a road trip enthusiast, and a San Antonio native. She spent the vacations of her youth packed into a 1978 Suburban with her 5 siblings and parents, who ignited her passion for exploration and in more recent years provided her with a day job flexible enough to take business calls and write emails from the middle of the desert. When she's not hitting the road, she sings in various musical projects with her husband Chris and with the San Antonio Master Singers. She's also been a host on King RTU's Indie Overnight for 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, clearly 3 names makes you a badass. Libby, Wardlaw, Maddin. I'm just going to go ahead and head off all the important questions. Yes, I did buy this dress for this exact occasion. As a poetry enthusiast, I'm going to start it off with one of my favorite quotes from Walt Whitman. Afoot and lighthearted, I take to the open road, healthy, free, the world before me. As a kid, I was obsessed with the song 50 Nifty, which listed all the states in alphabetical order. I used to perform at every opportunity, my ability to say all of the states in alphabetical order in 15 seconds or less. I'm going to attempt to use those timing skills throughout this timed presentation. I've never met anyone more enamored with the United States than my immigrant father. With 6 kids in tow, road tripping was the only means of discovering it. By middle school, I had clocked thousands of hours piled into an old 1978 blue Suburban with constant screaming and fighting in and out of 15 states, coal mines, and subway battlefields. Being on the road with at least 8 people in the car can be challenging. When we got back into after a stop, my mom would yell, "Sound off!" And we all had to yell our numbers corresponding to our birth order 1 through 6. In college, my best friend Melissa and I met a girl named Penny who, at a party, who said I always wanted to take an epic road trip. That night we hashed out plans to conquer the West, but honestly I thought it was one of those polite, fun party niceties until she called us back a few days later to say, "So when do we leave?" I liked this girl's style. We became fast friends. The night before we were supposed to take off at 8 a.m., the Spurs won the 2007 championship. Penny and I cheers with cops downtown in San Antonio till 4 a.m., and I infamously puked moments before we pulled out of the driveway. I also drunkenly packed only polka dots and stripes. We dubbed our trip Death Proof, after the Tarantino film from that year. It was us against the world. The 2-week trip from San Antonio to LA weaved around the West End of Route 66. We planned a new route from our Atlas daily and camped when we got tired. It became an annual tradition, and we've now been on 6. Needless to say, I became addicted. At 2010, after being asked at a party by a friend, "How many states have you visited?" Which is a fun party game, by the way. I decided to challenge myself to visit all 50 states before I turned 30. I had 5 years and 25 states to go. Step 1, I dubbed Stowaway, or hitching a ride, exchanging road trip expertise for mileage. I volunteered as a driver for 3 of my friends moving across the country. The first from San Antonio to Wisconsin, then Seattle, and most epically, a coast-to-coast road trip from New York City to San Francisco. Step number 2, I gotta catch them all. Building road trips specifically just for gathering states. I had strict guidelines. Airports don't count, and you must spend at least an hour in the state, preferably make a stop. On this trip, I made a rule that I had to make a snow angel in each state. Here is a map of most of the big trips I've taken since 2010. In all, in 5 years, I've driven nearly 20,000 miles on highways across the country. Walt Whitman also once said, "The United States themselves are essentially the greatest poem. Here is not merely a nation, but a teeming nation of nations." Since I began, I've collected, in order, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Oregon, Washington, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maine, North and South Dakota. And my current status is I still need West Virginia and North Carolina. They are eluding me. And a 30th birthday trip to Hawaii. So here's some tips. A lot of people ask me for tips on how to make the most out of your road trip. Aside from choosing the right people to join you and making sure you fill up before you go into the California desert, here's a few suggestions. Don't stick too closely to a schedule. Make time to stop at every weird stop and tourist trap on the side of the road. You'll feel it in your gut. This trip we spent about 2 hours making a photo shoot with gigantic dinosaur sculptures near the Everglades. You never know what gems you'll find, and these memories are the ones that stick out the most. One of my favorite stops is simply a billboard off Route 66 that inexplicably just says, "Here it is." Talk. Tell strangers, hotel workers, waiters, fellow travelers your story. People love to hear about my state's quest, and it makes them feel like they're more important. And they'll tell you things you never thought of. Like, here's a tip: we got to look at the national monument like this, staring up with your butt against the thing. My mind was completely blown. Eat local. Even while on the road, look up meals. When you project, you'll be hungry. So like an hour out, start looking up a city that's on your route and figure out a local place to eat. It totally changes the map of your whole trip. And drink local beers. Taste the country as you go. San Antonio is the heart of I-10. My new favorite challenge is conquering highways, and I've now driven every inch of I-10, I-35, as well as I-80. San Antonio is such a wonderful starting point. And as a plus, everyone loves a Spurs fan, or at least show mad respect. It's great to be an ambassador of our city while I'm traveling. So why drive? To me, flying sometimes feels like teleportation. While driving, you watch the landscape fade in and out and literally feeling the earth beneath you. Especially driving from coast to coast, you can really see this teeming nation of nations and a great progression of ever-changing scenery. It gives you a completely new context of understanding where we live and who we are. So, another great perk, downtime. You should exhaust all the small talk with your companions and get into the nitty-gritty. When else see the opportunity to sit 20 inches from someone for 8 hours straight? And I've had some of the deepest, most meaningful conversations in my life on the road and created lasting friendships. Decide what this photo suggests. She loves me. Lastly, national parks. I can't recommend them highly enough. They are the most wonderful, breathtaking places in the world and always welcoming a weary traveler. My next quest is to go to all 58 national parks. And since I know the intro was kind of a tease and you've been a lovely audience, here is my grand finale in very Broadway style. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Holy 50 states, Libby. Because I had it written right here that if you weren't going to do it, I was going to make you do it. Ladies and gentlemen, you understand that she has a map on her dress. Yes or no? Show it up. With red shoes. Which makes me, alright, nicely done. It's enjoyable. I have a few questions for you. Based on what you said, first of all, things I've learned from you. Say Spurs. It's enjoyable to the audience. Absolutely. Yeah. Always. Go Spurs. Go Spurs. Automatically. Say words like drunkenly. That's also enjoyable to an audience. And puked. I was puked. That's a good one. It's fine. When you are on a road trip, what is your favorite thing to listen to? Totally. Duh, Streisand. No, whatever is mostly is agreeable to the party, really, that you're with, and most of the time with us, it's like whatever is nostalgic, because it's like when you get to know people in the car, they're like, yeah, okay, you know me, and I'm willing to just tell you shit that I don't tell people that I'm embarrassed about. So we'll just sing pretty much the most embarrassing songs that, we can think of. As really you should, drunkenly, with the Spurs. Exactly. Did you see what happened just then? Spurs drunkenly. Actually, on our first road trip, we didn't have any smartphones. We just had like 10 mix CDs that we were just like putting in there. So it was like 5 songs we listen to over and over again.
Yeah, well, that's how you should do it. Real quick,
I
know that you've been on multiple road trips. Have you ever thought that you were actually just starting a horror movie? I'm like sitting over here thinking Tourist Trap and Cabin in the Woods, and I'm like, man, you're dying. Like, you're literally just driving down that weird road to hell.
I'm pretty sure you kind of have to get on it with like the best thoughts in mind. You have to be like, we're gonna have the best time ever.
Like the Chainsaw Massacre won't occur. If that's what you're thinking when you get in the car.
Yeah, or like we could be the perpetrators of it. I mean, that seems more exciting, you know. We could be the perpetrators of the horror.
Excellent. No,
I'm not
you
against
definitely should kill people on your road trips.
It's all death-proof.
No, you should do that. Visit the other 2 states that you're missing and just kill people along the way. That could be like a movie, it'd be like Thelma and Louise, but killing people. Yes!
So usually we're on like the outcome where we don't die because it's death-proof, so we're like, yes, we survived this again.
Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 names, Libby, Wardlaw, Maddin. Good job.